Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today we have a guest. It would be my farty chair because I couldn't be bothered to go grab the other chair that doesn't make any squeaks and fart sounds. Today we had the Cosmos palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills come in the mail. I figured we would sit down and start seeing if this was worth the $55 price tag. So a little bit of the backstory on this really beautiful palette. This was actually released early access to people who signed up for an email subscriber list. So I was able to get my hands on this rather quickly. So this palette retails for $55, which is a pricier palette. Granted, I did have a 15% off code that I used. So I got this for $46.75, I believe, but I did pay for express shipping so that way it was here just a little bit quicker, so that way you guys could potentially save money if it's not worth it. And that's what we're gonna figure out. So today I believe I am going to play, I don't know exactly what kind of a color story we're gonna go with, but I will be doing two different eye looks to see if it is worth your money or not. So we're going to start with the blue shade. The blue shade is called Super Cluster. Next to that is Sun, Orion. We have Mercury, Khazar, Galaxy, which is the purpley black matte. Then we have Space Dust, Comet, Eclipse, Supernova, Mars, and Dark Matter at the very end. Okay, so I never claimed to be good at swatches, just throwing that out there. But with time, I will get better. Okay, so we're just gonna prime this eye and we're gonna go for two eye looks today, and we will work one eye at a time. So I did not plan on filming today, but as soon as this came in, I had to play with it and review it. And just based off of like initial first swatches, it seems like a couple of the shades seem to be hard pressed. I've never played with an ABH palette. I've never owned one. So it's also seriously a first impression for me as well. But I think I'm going to start off with just going with the normal crease shade, and we are going to use Space Dust. And we're just going to take a fluffy blending brush and just throw that right into the crease. I try to do pretty simple eye looks that anybody can achieve. I try not to go too wild or too creative because I want to make sure that they are achievable for a lot of people. So Space Dust is the lightest shade in the palette, and we're just going to throw that through the crease and try to blend up a little bit towards the brow, which if you haven't learned already, I usually start to blend and then I will go back later on and blend more. So I will say that there is a lot of dust in the pan, which is to be expected when you are working with a powder product. To get the best color pigment and best color payoff, usually things press a little bit softer so that way you get instant payoff. Okay, so now that we have put Space Dust through the crease, we're gonna start adding a little bit more depth into the crease. We just wanted something that was just a little bit more blended. So it's pretty much like my skin tone, just a little bit deeper. And then I'm gonna switch down to a smaller, fluffier blending brush and go into the shade that's right next to that, which is more of an orangey red tone shade, and I'm going to throw that in the very deep crease. So if I'm looking straight forward, I'm literally putting this straight into my socket and just throwing it in there while doing windshield wiper motions, but just so that way we have a little bit of a difference between the two and gives it more dimension to the look. Then I'm going to go in with more of a cat paw kind of brush, and I think, I don't know what color scheme I want to go for on this side. I think I'm going to do a little bit of the Plum Eclipse shade. I'm sorry that I haven't been holding this palette up, but I went in first with this one to my crease to do as a transition. Then I went in just to deepen straight into the socket with this shade. Now I'm going to go into, I believe, well, no, wrong. We'll use this shade. This one is Mars, and I'm just going to stamp this along my outer portion, not bringing it fully in, but we're just going to go on the outer, and then I'm going to bring it up into the crease just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to go back into my initial blending brush that I used for the shade Space Dust and grab a little bit more of the Space Dust on there and go over the back of the top of that. so that way it just blends it with the color I've already used just a tiny bit. So this is kind of already pulling more of an orangey warm tone. And then we're just gonna go in over this middle part and just put in a shimmer on the inner portion. Might even use two. I think for this look, I'm going to go in with this shade, the shade Sun, which is this one right here, which I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell. On one side it looks very pink, but if you look in the mirror, you can see it go gold. So it's a duochrome shift. Then we're just gonna lay that down, which this would be a simple everyday look if you wanted to wear something at work and have a little bit of fun with it. We're gonna go in with this, and I could have used a glitter glue, but I really wanted to see Anastasia's formula to see how it lays down without a glue, which if you would like more color payoff, then I would suggest a glitter glue. So we're just gonna bring that up and bring it in, and then we'll probably take the darker shade and go back over. Nothing too exciting. As you can see, there's a little, like when I turn right here, it's a little pink, but it's gonna go from a gold to a pink. Okay, so then I'm gonna go back in, and I think I'm gonna take a little bit of dark matter, and I'm just gonna try to get just a tiny bit, just a stamp to bring a little bit more darkness in over the top. And I'm using a super fluffy brush because I don't want this, I want this to be a little bit more wispy. I don't want it directly all over, so it's just barely patting just a little bit of pigment over the top. And then I'm gonna run over the edges with that now that I got all of the pigment laid down. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Mars again, which is the original shade that we used on the outer corner. Super simple, but also very shifty. And then from there, for the inner corner, I would like to use this Kazara shade, which is just such a pretty duochrome. Like it goes from like a green to like a pinky gold. I guess it's, yeah, it's like a pinky green. We're just gonna throw that into the inner corner. Ooh, that looks like, oh, that is a freaking duochrome. And then we're gonna bring that in. So these are very, just what they say. Cosmos is probably the perfect name for this. So I'm just gonna go in with a eyeliner brush, well, or a small flat brush, and line the top waterline that I have with one of the powders in this. I think I will go with Eclipse, which is not a shade that I used yet, but it's just a deep plum. And I will notice that there is some fallout on my face. So the best way to avoid that is just by doing your eye look before you do your base makeup, your foundation. So that is with some of the warmer shades, and I think that the wing looks cute. Once I get a full face of makeup on, it's gonna look different. So until then, we are going to do something different on this side. For the next eye, I am going to attempt to do a halo eye, a very simple halo eye, but I also make no promises because I'm not the greatest at halo eyes. But we're gonna play around, and I think we're gonna play around with some blues. So some bluey purples on this side. We're gonna do a little bit more of a cool tone eye. So we're gonna start off with the same Spaced shade and just run that through the crease because I feel like I still need a crease color. So we're just gonna leave it like that. We're gonna start out with the shade Eclipse, which is the same one that I used to wing out on this side. And we're gonna put that on the inner and outer corners. And we're gonna start small. And I'm just using another fluffy blending brush to achieve this. I'm gonna put this on the outer corner as well. And then we will take another shade and go over the top of that. So I'm stamping and then I'm blending, and I'm going to blend over the top with a clean brush. So it kind of made it fade away just a tiny bit, but that's okay. I'm fine with slow building. And then I'm gonna take a smaller, fluffier brush and run that through the crease as well, just to try to connect the two just a tiny bit. And I do want to try to play with that matte sparkle shades, even though I'm not a big fan of those. And please let me know if you guys would like to see more eye looks created with this, and if there was a specific kind of eye look that you guys are hoping to see, because I can do my best to try to achieve those. Okay, so that is the initial shape that we have going. We're gonna go in with this shade Galaxy, and we're just also gonna stamp that on the inner and outer corner, just to deepen this just a tiny, and then go back over with a clean blending brush. So this is where we are after putting in that Galaxy shade. Most of the glitter didn't stick, and that's probably because I didn't use a glitter glue, but I do really like the color that it kind of left behind. Granted, it does look really really muddy. Just like putting lipstick on a pig, we'll cover it up with shimmer. I think I'm going to go back in with the Eclipse shade. We're going to get back to being more of a purpley tone and then lay blue over the top. It's going to look a little harsh at first. It's coming off more of like a smoky eye, but that's okay. It's supposed to be dark. So I'm just taking, again, another clean brush and blending over the top, cleaning it all up. Okay, so that's where we are. And then I'm going to go back into Space Dust, which is the original transition shade, and try to blend out a little bit more of this harshness that I brought into the inner portion. I think we're going to go in with Mercury over the top, which is this shade right here. And then we're going to go over that with a little, we're going to tap this in the center because this feels more like, almost like a topper shade. So we're going to go a little bit more of the deeper, grungier. I look in the center and see where that gets us. For precision, I'm going to go in with a brush that's a little bit more rounded on top just to try to get more evenly into the crease. And if it wasn't sticking to my brush, I could use a setting spray and spray over the top of it. And I'm just going to get right into the crease of my eye and just a tiny bit over the top of it because I do have hooded eyes. That's a really beautiful shade and I could just leave it there, but I want to utilize more colors in this palette. So let's go in with a little bit of the brighter blue and see how that looks over the top. And we're just going to get a light amount on the finger and lay that directly in the middle to just bring forward a little bit more. This is also a duochrome. See the way that that just brought more colors to the surface. So it's giving a little bit more of a green and blue and tying them together. And from that shade you will see that I do have a little bit of fallout, which is funny because I was applying it with my finger to avoid that, but it's something that's going to wipe away. I could go for just a little bit deeper around the corner work again. So I think from there I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of the Dark Matter shade, which is the deepest shade in the palette. I'm just going to go over the top of the corner to try to further blend that together. And I'm more so patting than blending. And it's just kind of blurring the edges. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Space Dust shade, which is more of just a little bit darker than my skin tone, and just kind of pat over the top of that to blend it just a little bit further. It's a little bit deeper and darker on this side. I'm gonna go clean up underneath, do my concealer, do my foundation, and then we can come back and talk about the way I feel about this palette. So, all right, and we are back. This is with a base, and I will say that both of the eye looks came together perfectly. I did go in with the Lunar Beauty blushing lipstick. I know it's probably not the right one for this, and I probably should have gone with Icon, but I wanted to try a different lip with this, and honestly, I will say that this lip definitely goes with this eye, right? Now, on this side, I guess it could still work. We could just, I don't know, it would probably be better with the nude. But these are the different eye looks, and I wanted to finish off with the bottom lash so that way we can have a completed look. All right, so I am going to pull two brushes. And for the lower lash line on, there's not many mattes in these palettes. I mean, you get 5 mattes. So I guess we're kind of limited on where we're going to go with this eye. We're going to go probably with a deep color. And then on the bottom, we'll probably go with Eclipse on this side. Just because that's what we used on the upper lash. That's what we are going to do, is take a little bit of Eclipse, which is that plummy purple shade, and just go running that on the bottom. We'll take a fluffy brush and just kind of run that along the bottom just to kind of blend it further, make it a little less harsh. And then on the other side, we're going to start with this Dark Matter shade, and then we're going to blend it out with either Mars or Comet. And we're going to keep this real tight up at the top. We're going to go on with Comet, and then we can go in with a black eyeliner. It does look a little harsh, but honestly, for like a night out, this would be really cute. And I did, okay, so I went in with a little bit of like a green highlight, and on the other eye, we are going to throw in the ColourPop white liner. Now that the eyes are finished, honestly, which eye do you guys like more? I think, honestly, I did not expect to like this. I did not, but here we are. And then there is this side. I would really like to talk about this palette. I will say, okay, so the colors are absolutely stunning, but I will say that, like, I think Instagram really made me want to pick this up a lot more than what I probably should have. But honestly, for the price that I paid, I didn't pay the $55 amount. I paid $46.75 or something, and I think it's most definitely worth it. And for this being my first Anastasia palette, I will say that the formula is very, very nice. I mean, these shimmer shades are so creamy. They're beautiful. And the fact that they shift out is just, it's stunning. It's a good formula. And the shifts, I would say alone are worth it. There's duochromes and multichromes are usually more expensive to make. And the fact that ABH was able to keep this at the same price point as most of their palettes is incredible. They didn't break the bank for a whole bunch of people. $55 is still a steep price, but I will say that it's very easy to use. It's an easy to use palette. And if it's something that you could see yourself wearing, or if you're just interested in the duochromes themselves, I would say it's worth the price tag. If you guys are interested in ABH, this is a great starting palette. I am still super happy that I picked it up, and I am excited to play with it more. If there's any specific shades that I didn't get to in today's video that you are interested in seeing, please drop a comment down below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Drop a like, subscribe to my channel, ring that bell, change it to all so that way you are notified every time that I upload a brand new video. I hope you all have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.